Hey guys, Martin here bringing another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and so we got a tweet earlier today from our boy I Seriously, known in the community for posting GIFs whenever he gets confirmation of upcoming unit releases, and I actually can't remember where he gets his information from, but he, at this point in the community, pretty trusted, has like a 99.9% degree of accuracy. I think there's like one time he'd posted about something that was incorrect in like the last 4 or 5 years that I can remember. But of course, in this instance, we definitely would not be surprised, right? So for Global, we pretty much knew that the Int androids were going to be the next upcoming release. They will be obviously the main Dokkan Fest and celebration for February, and then that's when we would move into March and get the Saiyan Day stuff on both versions of the game. So no surprise that the Int androids are confirmed to be next. And what's interesting is earlier, it was like 4 AM UK time, but earlier I put up the showcase for the UI Goku that got his EZA on JP today, and interestingly, his release and his EZA being so good does kind of increase the stocks of the androids. It does make me, as a global player, a little bit more interested in actually pulling them, because of course it's very unlikely they'll return on a banner before the anniversary, and they're going to be very good on the reps or tournament like team once both the UI Gokus have their EZA. And of course, with the theme of the anniversary being Dragon Ball Super, there's the possibility that even other characters from that Reps of Universe 17 get an EZA, or the Part 2 LRs have something to do with it. So these guys could definitely become a lot more interesting. And when they drop on Global, we will know in a lot more detail a bunch of stuff that has started coming out for the anniversary, which could obviously influence people's decisions. So if we jump over to the wiki here, we can take a look at these guys. So Spark-born struggle for survival, Android 17 and 18. They lead tournament participants or siblings bond, 3 key 170, and then additional 30 to representatives of Universe 7 or joined forces. So I guess there'll be some interesting combos for like siblings bond, joined forces, like the Go Bros and stuff like that. But their main team build realistically is going to be for being a new build for Reps of Universe 7. And these guys, as the double leads, do fulfill the condition of essentially being like a floating support unit, right? They greatly raise attack and defense on their super. They have a unit super where they massively raise attack and defense for 1 turn, do immense damage, and they raise all allies' attack and defense by 35% for 2 turns. And that unit super is when there's an ally whose name includes Goku attacking in the same turn. So obviously you can see where the idea is here, good old Amatsu had to sneak Goku into a Android's card. I feel like these guys just being a TOP Android 17 and 18 and then making them, you know, a buff for all allies, or even more so for like androids, would have been really good for the Android team, especially then later with the release of 21 and the Android 13 EZA and stuff like that. But you have to have Goku on the rotation, but that gives them a very, very powerful effect, because raising allies' attack and defense by 35% for 2 turns. So that's obviously a pretty significant buff, not just for your rotation, but obviously for all the units on the next turn as well. But you only get that if there is a Goku on the turn. So they have an entrance animation. They randomly change orbs of a certain type to rainbow, not int, for 4 turns if there's another Universe of 7 reps of Universe 7 ally on the team, which is obviously easy enough to do. That's how you're going to want to build their team. They get attack 170, defense 180, additional attack and defense 50%, and reduced damage by 35% when performing a super attack. So again, like as long as you're not against an AoE boss, as a floating support unit, you're ideally going to be getting their unit super. So they're massively raising their defense, as well as getting extra defense on super and 35% damage reduction. So obviously they are made to be like a 3rd slot floating support unit, and now that that team is going to start getting beefed up with these like UI Goku EZAs and stuff like that, they are going to be a lot more valuable. They get an additional 50% attack and a 50% chance to crit if you pick up 7 or more orbs. They give tournament participant allies 2 key, attack and defense 35%, and then they give an additional 1 key, 17% attack and defense 18% with 7 or more key spheres obtained. So they'll be giving allies 3 key and what is that, 52% attack and 53% defense, which is pretty good if you get those 7 orbs, which is a lot easier to do with rainbow orb changing. Then you get an additional 59% attack when performing a super and a scouter effect when you have Goku in the same turn, which that's something that you definitely can't overlook. Just by having Goku on rotation with them, they have a scouter effect, which is pretty crazy, right? So very, very effective. They have an active skill, which possibly might be one of the most unimpressive active skills in the game, unless, you know, there's probably going to be good combos for this with other nuking style units and stuff, I guess. But their active skill changes tech orbs to int. But it can be activated when HP is 70% or less, 78% or less, I should say, starting from the 5th turn. But you can use it 8 times. So once you get to turn 5, if you are running these guys floating, it's like every turn they come in after that, they're just going to be able to orb change if you're at 78% or less HP. Which, I mean, they change orbs to rainbow, and then they'll change any tech orbs to int. They can kind of mess themselves up if they change tech orbs to rainbow with their passive, because then there are no tech orbs to change with their active skill. But this could still come in pretty handy. So these guys will be the Dokkan Fest that we'll be releasing. If we take a look at the category, tournament participants is one of these interesting ones where it's obviously the Tournament of Power, but then the Cell Games is included as one of the tournaments. The Universe 6 versus Universe 7 tournament, obviously world tournaments from OG, Dragon Ball, End of Dragon Ball Z. So obviously characters like, you know, the Saiyan Man with the sunglasses. Surely Videl should be on here, right? Do they not class her as being the one from the... I guess she can't fly at that point. She doesn't fly in the tournament, but she's been taught how to by then, right? So I guess the Videl doesn't count. She's the one from just before the World Tournament when she cuts her hair, which is her active skill, I guess. But yeah, units like the sunglasses, Saiyan Man, obviously Kid Goku's, even like the GT Vegeta Jr., like the Vegeta and Jr. and Goku Jr. LR. These guys are all in there as well. So pretty much any tournament, even the BoJack movie tournament, even though technically BoJack and his minions weren't actually in the tournament, as far as I'm aware, right? They just crashed it. So they shouldn't probably be in there, but they're in there too. So, I mean, it's one of those good examples of units that maybe who shouldn't be in there are in there, as opposed to what Dokkan often does, where characters who you would think would be in a category aren't. So, very interesting. It's not the craziest, but Reps of Universe 7 with some extra nice little buffs. Having characters like 23rd World Tournament Goku on there is pretty interesting. But yeah, and of course they support tournament participants and not just Reps of Universe 7, so their team certainly could look quite interesting, and even more so now that we know the various buffs that we're going to be getting with the anniversary. Because if we take a look back at the timeline for JP, this stuff released 5th of October, so as the worldwide celebration was coming to an end. We get a bunch of awakenings and then later Easy A's for some free-to-play units. That random tech free-to-play Goku gets a TUR Awakening, as well as a new Krillin releasing. This is all part of like story events and stuff. Their side banner unit is the weird trio from the Ribrienne universe. Support for... Are they a support for Power of Wishes? Yeah. Support for Power of Wishes all tournament participants. They're not very good, if I remember rightly, but it's kind of not much of a surprise. They're the side banner unit. The GT Hellfighter 17 and 18 awaken and get Easy A's. But also, interestingly, this celebration saw a few days later the release of more quest stages, which brought the first awakening for Trunks, awakening into the TUR, the Super Saiyan Trunks and Broly. So that means this could be coming to Global very, very soon. If we take a look, in fact, I've got the news up here on Global. If you take a look for the Carnival banner that's out at the moment for Omega, and the sales and everything, those all end, at least this is UK time, right? Your game will show you your local time. Those all end at like 6 AM on the 1st of February, which is a Thursday, which means the Androids banner will be coming out basically 30 minutes after that. So this was then, what, 5 days later? 6? Yeah, 6 days later, we then got the story update. So then we would be looking at around like the 7th of February for the release of this new quest stages. Then we had obviously the day after that, the Easy A for the androids was STR Jiren, as well as Easy A's for these Universe 6 characters. The Boa Magetta one I seem to remember was pretty good. And then yeah, some other bits like special events and stuff like that. And then of course their part 2 LR will be Ribrienne. There was also a world tournament, and that basically covered the whole month up until they obviously had the Halloween stuff in the end here, and then going into the next Dokkan Fest. So this will be the stuff that we can kind of expect for the whole of February. Not exactly the most crazy, exciting stuff while the anniversary is going on JP, but as I've already said, the stocks for the androids do kind of go up with seeing these buffs for UI Goku, potential other buffs for Tournament of Power characters. So let me know what you guys think down below. I know, obviously, as a global player, even if these guys were pretty good, it's not going to be as hype as the anniversary stuff going on JP. But let me know if you are going to be summoning for these guys, if maybe the STR UI Goku EZA has kind of tipped you over. Because I can say for me, like, as a content creator, obviously I would summon for them anyway. But I am definitely a little bit more interested in actually getting them for their future potential, because unfortunately when they drop on global, like I'll be doing the showcases and stuff for them and their team's probably not going to be that crazy, because in terms of the actual reps of Universe 7 characters, so many of them are outdated without their EZA now, that it's not really the strong backbone of the team that you would want it to be. But now that those EZAs are starting to come out on the JP side, their team is going to be considerably better, and as I say, they won't return before the anniversary. So having these guys in your box for the anniversary when those two UI Gokus get their EZAs is definitely going to be beneficial. So let me know what you guys think down below. Are you going to be summoning for them? Are you going to be skipping? Obviously, I know a lot of people, the mindset is to skip for the anniversary now that we've seen like the Gogeta and Broly, which is probably smart. I feel like Saiyan Day is the only wild card between now and then because, of course, just like last year, you know, God Goku was the Saiyan Day unit and was the best TUR on release, so they could do that same thing again, and that would be very tempting. But let me know your guys' thoughts on the androids. Confirmed, it wasn't really a surprise, but confirmed as the next Dokkan Fest for Global. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Masked Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.